Hello, everyone. This is my last lecture. Whew! Thank you all for taking this class and for all of your participation, all your questions, all your comments. If you haven't yet, you really need to fill out the course evaluation. There is a link right on our Moodle page for this course. It's important to Gratz, and it's very important to me as well. A quick review of the last 2 weeks. Week 6 readings were all about supporting and training the online community manager or managers and being ready yourself as an online community manager. These readings provide a lot of good material and essential material, and I will want to see in your final report that you've read these. I'll know if you have based on your strategies for supporting your online community manager, for identifying who the support for that manager is going to be, etc. Week 7 was all about demonstrating the value of your online community or communities. The materials were about evaluation, analytics, qualitative measures, quantitative measures, how to report success, and how to identify challenges. These are all things you'll need to address in your final report. What is success going to look like for the community you are proposing in your final project? How are you going to measure success? So many senior staff and funders, this is all they want. Data that shows an online community is worthwhile. And your readings made it clear it's a lot more than the number of people who log in or the number of subscribers. I also had just a few readings for week 7 on what's next for the internet and online communities. What can we expect in the coming months and years? I hope you read those materials in the context of how to future-proof your online community. I had so much more planned for weeks 6 and 7, a lot of activities, even some activities for week 8. But I've seen a really big drop in participation in our online community and online participation in other online communities. Many of you haven't finished the assignments in the earlier weeks and mid-weeks, things you were supposed to do on Reddit or TechSoup or whatnot. And I'm just realizing that you're winding down, and what I'm getting is a sense that you want to focus on your final project. So I've adjusted the curriculum to do just that. I just want to note that assignments were meant often to see if you really were reading the readings. I could tell based on what you posted, how you posted, what you did outside the Moodle. I could tell if you'd read the readings or not. But my goal ultimately with the readings is I want to give you the basics for using online technology to build community and grow your organization, give you the materials I did not have when I got started building communities, and using them, leveraging them as a part of the mission of nonprofits I've been associated with. So I've cut back on assignments pretty heavily these last 3 weeks. It makes me sad on the one hand, but on the other hand, I really do try to be responsive to students and where I think they're at and where they're going. And that brings me to this point. Online communities do not last forever. Online communities don't stay in exactly the same form that they start in, and maybe they don't continue to exist at all after a few years. Online communities may continue, but they may jump from platform to platform. There are online communities on Facebook that started off as Yahoo groups, or even on America Online. There are online communities that had hundreds of members, and participation led to the creation of nonprofits and partnerships and on and on. But the online community actually doesn't exist anymore. It lived out its usefulness. Just like there are on-site face-to-face conferences that went on for years and years, maybe you attended some, and they don't happen anymore because people change, times change, needs change, and they just went away because they weren't of value anymore. I don't want to repeat what's in the readings for lessons 6 and 7. They speak for themselves. Again, I tried to cover all the things I wish I had known before I started creating online communities and being a part of them. That's specifically what was in lessons 6 and 7. And also, there is a lot there that you can use in your final project. I want to reiterate that online communities can be as private as you want to make them in terms of membership and who has access to messages. Yes, you could have a private group and you could have somebody that in that group that you've approved and you even know who they are screen captures something and sends it to all their friends in violation of what you all have agreed to do regarding privacy. I have to tell you, that has never happened to me. And I've been in a lot of online communities. The reality is, it's just not something that happens as often as you're afraid that it does. You just have to remember, as is talked about frequently, confidentiality is a training issue. If you make sure everyone understands that a group is supposed to be confidential and why it's supposed to be confidential, most people are going to adhere to that. And if there's something that you don't think should be discussed on the community because there is the possibility that somebody could screen capture it and share it, then set up a rule that you can't share certain things on that community and delete them if somebody does that. But I just hear a lot of worries about, oh my goodness, what if somebody violates our privacy? And I just have to say, it just so rarely happens. On public groups or even semi-public groups where anybody can join, but you can't see messages until you join, even on those type of groups, you do need to be thinking about what you're going to do if somebody is going to seek out your group specifically to say something insulting or even harmful. But you have to do this for public meetings as well, on site, face to face. Surely you've done that. Pre-COVID, I did workshops on nonprofit communications, on volunteerism, on lots of various subjects, and I did them face to face, on site. I've done them all over the world. And a couple of times, 2 times, I had somebody who wandered in who was not part of the registered group, and I did not realize it at first. It was just some random person, and they ended up getting a little disruptive. And I realized in the questions and comments they started making, oh wow, they're not supposed to be here. And I had to call security, and it was awkward. But in all the workshops I've done, and I've done a lot over decades, it's happened 2 times. And because of those 2 incidents, those 2 face-to-face incidents, now anytime I do an event, online or face-to-face, but mostly face-to-face, I ask if there is somebody in the room who will be willing to call security if I tell them, I need you to call security, if there's an issue. And they look at me kind of funny, and I get an agreement for them to do that, and it just makes me feel a little more comfortable. My much, much bigger problem is when somebody who is supposed to be in that room decides they don't like what I'm saying about the importance of inclusion and diversity in volunteer engagement. And they will stand right up and let me and the whole room know it. And I have to tell you, it's from being online so much. It's from being in so many online events and online communities that I have become better at handling those kind of people in on-site face-to-face meetings. This is going to be your bigger issue online. In your private online community, a parent in your community that's for parents of young people in your program is going to decide to make their grievances known to everybody. Or a grant recipient who got some money from your foundation and is in your online community for other grant recipients, they're going to decide to start talking about something completely off topic in your community. It's much more likely you're going to have someone who posts misinformation. It's much more likely you're going to have someone that gets angry that the group is moderated and that the message they sent on Monday still hasn't been approved by the moderator. And they're going to let everybody know that they're very angry about that. Through week 6 and 7 readings, I've tried to give you what I think is great advice for handling these much more common negative scenarios in online communities, and more importantly, details on the nitty gritty of moderation and facilitation, on recruiting candidates to help you moderate and facilitate your group, on how to navigate stress, on supporting your online community manager, on getting help if you're an online community manager. The description of week 6 readings had a very important point about the content in your final project. So go back and read that if you haven't. There has been a lot of learning going on in our own online community on the Moodle. I hope you all have been reading other people's posts. Even when you aren't posting, there's really good stuff there. For instance, someone posted a photo, and it was a nice photo. It was a great photo. But because of where it was posted in our community, a couple of us were confused about why it was posted. And so we asked. And once it was explained, the whole exchange became a lesson for all of us, for you, about the importance of thinking about where you're posting a photo or information in an online community, based on the thread, based on the forum branch or whatever, and a lesson in how a photo can help humanize a community, to make that online room, if you will, feel a little warmer and a little more inviting. Some of you were shocked when I said that 2 replies to a post is something to celebrate. Just 2. You were expecting a lot more replies to indicate success. Nope. If you have read the readings, then you've seen just how difficult it is to get people to reply to online posts. I try to end any post on TechSoup or the Reddit groups that I manage with a question, to make it clear, I am inviting your comments. I am inviting others to share here. I make it really explicit, and look how rarely it is someone responds. I want you to look at our online community and see just how often I asked questions and how I tried to be very specific. Yes, it was a part of your online assignment to read and respond. But I also wanted you to be thinking about your strategy for your final project. Do you see yourself or your other moderators or facilitators asking questions or sharing something in order to solicit advice? What is that going to look like? How are you going to structure your strategy to really entice people to engage? I'll really be interested in seeing what you do. I'm sure you have all read what's required for the final project, and most of you have said what your final project is going to be focused on in terms of what kind of online community you're going to propose a strategy for. But go have a look at the description of what's asked for one more time. Read it out loud to yourself. Make sure you understand all that is being asked for. How did I come up with that word count, the required word count for your final project? Bet you're wondering. I went through all of the readings that I have for this course, and then I cut and pasted different parts of some of them into a document, like a description of this online community and the rules of that online community, and the description of how this other online community is moderated, and pieces of my own website where I talk about what success looks like online. I cut and pasted safety policies from some other online community, and on and on. And then I looked at the word count. The word count, by the way, was huge. It was way more than I could expect you all to do. So then I went back and I looked at a couple of my own proposals that I've written for different online projects. And I looked at the word count, and somewhere in between there, I created yours. The point is that not only did I use actual examples of what I expect in your final project for the final required word count, I adapt other people's materials all the time for my proposals and reports. All the time. I always cite those sources. I always know why I chose those sources that I adapted, and I expect you to do the same. But if you find a safety policy in an online community and you think, hey, I want to use that same exact wording in my proposal, it's perfect. Well, go for it. If you see a recruitment plan to get a diversity of moderators and you think, I want to use some of that in my own proposal, great, go for it. If you like the rules on some community and you want to pretty much adapt them or use them verbatim on your own, go for it. As long as you cite the source, as long as you are clear about why you think this example from this community is perfect for your project to adapt, I'm fine with it. So yes, you can cut and paste. Yes, you can use other people's words in your project. As long as you cite the source, put things in quotes, tell me why you think it's a great example, I'm fine with it. Just please don't take something from your readings like the TechSoup materials and just take out the word TechSoup and put in your initiative's title and turn it in. Again, I expect to read not only how you're going to do things in your online community, but why you are making those choices. Through your lectures and in particular through your readings, you have everything you need to do to put your final project together. You've had it all along since day one of this class. But if you're struggling, message me. Slack is best to get an immediate response from me, but Moodle's fine, email, whatever. I just really do want to help you. I've reached out to some of you who are very behind in the course to let you know how you can catch up to at least get a passing grade or to just pass in a pass-fail situation. If that's you, you should have gotten an email that's called Getting You Caught Up. But if not, don't worry, I'm also going to post it to the Moodle community in just a moment. It tells you exactly the minimum you need to do to at least pass this course. And yes, to pass the course, you have to do the final project. I am so sorry we didn't get to have a live session. You're all on such different schedules and in such different time zones, and it just proved absolutely impossible. I've been online myself as a student. I got my master's degree online from Open University. It was a 3-year program. It was very intense. It was a lot more reading than you have in your courses at Gratz. And it was a wonderful program, and it changed my life, and I'm so proud of my degree. But the classes were not interactive at all. There was an online community, and there really, out of about 150, 200 students in the program, there were only a handful of us that used it all the time to talk to each other and help each other through assignments. I've tried to make this course much more interactive, not only because of the subject matter, but because I think it's more worthwhile as a learning experience. I think that online videos and an online community add a human touch to an online course that I found really missing in my online course experience as a student. I really love training on site, face-to-face. I love having people all together and asking questions and discussing and debating and changing what I was going to do midway through because I realized the students are going in another direction or whatnot. And of course, that's much harder to do online. But through our online community, I really did my best to try to create some of that, to try to recreate some of that interactivity. It worked sometimes it didn't, just like most everything you attempt to do online. I have to say, even if I were teaching on site in a traditional program, I would still create an online community for students. I would still have things for them to do online together. That's how strongly I feel about the power of what can happen online. Anyway, to bring this to a close, one final thing, please stay in touch. Link to me on LinkedIn. Follow me on Twitter. Those are the two best ways to stay in touch with me. And my door is always open, virtually speaking. Anytime in the future you have a question about online community or nonprofit management or crisis communication or dealing with misinformation or working for the United Nations or volunteering or working with volunteers or Kentucky or Afghanistan or Ukraine or my motorcycle or my fabulous chicken pot pie recipe, really anything, I would love to hear from you. You can contact me anytime. I am very, very easy to find online. Good luck with your final project. And again, thanks for taking this class.